Lady of the faucets, let's get it.
It's R2R, back to riches, back to riches. 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 Got my call from the R2R. Farmers going up, Brody, check the chart. In the loots, buying all these plots. Thomas G and Mike got the chat on lock. With a drip and pause. Got these dogs and pigeons, farm me, I'm ready to score. Got me a bag of the rich and hard, I think I need more. Group got me in the wave, now I'm swimming the shore. Now I'm up to the core. It's R2R, back to riches, back to riches. It's R2R, back to riches, back to riches. It's R2R, back to riches, back to riches. It's R2R, back to riches, back to riches.
Yeah, dog. Welcome to R2R, Wreck to Riches, episode number 70. 70 episodes deep, man. If you are on YouTube, because we're dual streaming right now, you got to pound the like button, drop a comment, post notifications, subscribe, and get that YouTube algorithm going. But if you're over on X, and X seems to always win the crowd when it comes to the algorithm, go over on X. It gets tweeted automatically when I stream, so go like it, repost it, get all your hashtags, Hex, hashtag Solidx, Pulse, PulseX, everything on the Pulse chain ecosystem. Go hashtag it up and share this with your friends, your neighbors, your family, your grandma, your mailman, maybe even a stranger. Just tap them on the shoulder and just say, hey, look, R2R is live. Let's get it going. Always remember, I'm not a financial advisor. For damn sure not a professional. This is cryptocurrency. You cannot allow a social media influencer on any social media platform out there to influence you when it comes to these digital currencies, cryptocurrency, because you could get wrecked. Stuff happens. Code goes bad. You name it. But let's look at what affects the entire crypto space, right? We're going to talk about Pulse Chain. We're going to talk about Solidx today, but we got to cover a few things that's going on, right? What's going on? And you know what's going on. Bitcoin is going down. It's going down. $93,608 Bitcoin. We were below this price point, not too long ago back, like within the past 24 hours or so. We've had some pretty big dips down to $91,432 Bitcoin, bounced up. Everyone's looking for that $100,000 Bitcoin to confirm that we're going to go on this, what they would call a super cycle, a parabolic bull market. In our world, though, where we are focused heavily on Pulse Chain, you're looking at Bitcoin and going, make your move, take your Bitcoin dominance as high as you're going to take it, then draw back, and let's get this show popping when it comes to Ethereum. Ethereum, $3,323 Ethereum at this very moment. So if Bitcoin does hit 100K in the near future, we're all going to be feeling like this right about that time.
Yeah! Oh, Daddy thought he lost you.
It's all right. Oh my God, I almost died. No. I almost died. That was so scary. Thank you.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
I had a realization. I've been alive for 24 years and I haven't even done anything with my life.
For real, though, that's the feeling when you get these big dips. It's kind of hard to stomach at moments. However, big volatility is nothing new to these seasoned vets in cryptocurrency. And we in the Pulse Chain ecosystem understand that we're leveraged on it, right? The performance of ETH at a 2x, at a 3x, in addition to the speculated sacrifice funds that may or may not come into the ecosystem at much larger profits. We'll take a look at that because, again, we can't have expectations, right, that things are going to go exactly as planned. We did see the sacrifice money come in after the bridge fee early 2024, set the bridge fee to 0%. That way it costs practically nothing to send over Ethereum other than a gas fee, which started buying the RH core tokens. That investment right now is down 12%, about $77.5 million. So once we see Ethereum at $3,700, $4,000, $5,000, the sky's the limit. I think the FOMO will kick in, and maybe we'll have a repeat, entry with the sacrifice funds. But as we see it, we look from the outside and go, we can only speculate and hope. It's not a guarantee, but you never know. Before we jump into anything, if you guys are not following me on Twitter, right, I'm always making sure that, hey, I'm telling you guys truthfully, when the market's going up, when the market's going down on the Pulse Chain ecosystem, I draw my strength from rewatching Richard Hart content, right? So I've told you guys, for the community, I'm going to be posting several videos per day so that you can go draw strength. Every morning I wake up, I drink my coffee, I watch some RH footage, right? And this morning's content of the day for the morning to kick off, because I'll have much more in the pipeline for the remainder of today. Hold on. For the remainder of the day, we'll be posting things so that you can go, and you might be that person that's holding your RH tickers, that's seeing greenery in the scenery and other ecosystems, or you're feeling the pain. I come and I watch some content from Richard Hart, because there was nothing like the good old days, right, when Richard Hart was streaming. And for me, during those moments, during those ups and downs, the volatility, understanding that volatility is the price you pay for mad games, there was nothing better than watching good old Richard Hart just have at it. And today's tweet, this is where Alex Saunders went into the lion's den with Richard Hart and never made it out. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip. Again, I do this to draw strength. I put it out there on X. Follow me. The link's in the description to my X account, and active there all day long. So let's check out what happens when you jump into the lion's den.
The point was that anyone that had coins was able to move them or try to sell them, and move them to sell them if they wanted to.
So who are these people in Hex that are fucked that you're talking about?
Let me finish my point. 99% of Hex coins are locked up, or they can't be sold.
No, they're not. You're retarded.
They tried to sell, the price collapsed as soon as 1% or 0.1% of people try to sell.
No, you're retarded and wrong, and the numbers you're quoting are literally wrong. 90% are liquid, 10% are staked. What the fuck are you talking about? Why don't you go to hex.vision and go look at the fucking chart? 90% are liquid, 10% are staked. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You just literally quoted the shit backwards. You just said
99% of coins aren't being traded in the 24-hour volume each day, compared to Bitcoin and those others around.
Let's talk about volume.
Those high ratios.
Let's talk about volume. Do you make money on volume?
What do you mean by that?
Do you, Alex Saunders, make money on volume? When you look at the volume chart and it goes up, do you make more money?
You need a healthy market needs volume in terms.
Yo, dog, this is not a hard question. I'm just asking you if you can make money on volume or not. You personally, whatever shit you're holding, when it has more volume, do you make more money?
Indirectly, you don't want to invest in something that has no volume and liquidity. No,
you dodged the question twice. That's badass, bro. How many times are you going to dodge that question? See, I'm going to just get to answer it for you because you didn't answer it.
Yes, it does. It does affect you.
That wasn't a question. I asked you if you make money on volume, and you keep saying everything except the answer. The answer is no, you don't make money on volume. Do you know who makes money on volume? Do you want me to tell you who makes money on volume? No, you fucking don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
You're not getting out.
No, you don't.
You're not getting out without volume.
How many fucking Rolexes? I got $1 million of Rolexes here. Didn't get made on volume, dog. Didn't. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I do, okay? Volume is how market makers make money. You know who they make the money on the backs of? The poor son of a bitch users, I guess you, that pay them for the fucking privilege of using their liquidity. Exchanges who steal your data, leak your data, make you beg and send selfies and hostage videos to get your money back. They make money on volume. The users lose money on volume. The fucking more volume you see on the chart, the more the users are losing their money to middlemen and fucking exchanges. And you ain't neither of those. So why are you promoting the fucking middlemen getting rich? Why are you promoting the liquidity providers getting rich? Why are you promoting the exchanges getting rich, sucking volume dick when you can't make any money on it? Because you're an idiot. You don't understand what's good for the world. What's good for the world is not volume. Volume is people getting chopped up. Volume is buying tops and selling bottoms. You want to know how you get rich in crypto? You delay gratification. You know how many people got to run up the 6.5 million X run up in Bitcoin? Barely anyone, because they sold. Imagine if there was a product that you could buy it and it would stop your weak-handed ass from selling your future. And then you would have the most price-performant asset of the world still in your hands because you didn't sell it in a 2X when it did a 6,000X. I invented something that monetizes the most important investing concept and most important self-development concept in the world, which is delaying gratification. And you don't see the magic. You don't see the beauty. You're caught up in promoting shit that sucks. You're promoting fucking volume. And
Oh my gosh. I love this clip right here, right? Because I didn't see it back in like days where I first started to get on exchanges, centralized exchanges, which I don't operate with centralized exchanges until I exit crypto, really small amounts, because I don't trust a large amount being on a centralized exchange. But what he's talking about, when your money's stuck and you're sending selfies, it's hilarious to me to think about when I started to withdraw large amounts. Then they're like, oh, you need to send a picture of yourself and your ID and this and that. And then we need to boost your account so that you can go from being able to withdraw 10,000 to 50,000 a day to 100,000 in the process. I'm like, this is my money. This isn't crypto, right? So he talked about these things way ahead of time, probably before most of people in DeFi experience what the true value of being decentralized and operating that way actually means. And when you go from trading on exchanges and keeping your money, not your keys, not your crypto, and you go into DeFi and you start to use ledgers, hardware wallets, and you have self-custody, you appreciate content like this because you look back and go, yeah, I remember having to send a selfie of myself to get a $10,000 plus withdrawal to up it to $100,000 I could withdraw at one time to my bank when it was time to cash out. And Alex is talking about volume, right? And the thing I revisited too, even after watching this in the past, is since Richard's been gone, I've drifted away and forgotten most of this. So I got to remind myself, well, what did I forget about? I forgot. I have been one that's been talking about the volume with people, and like in chat rooms, I've mentioned it on Twitter before or X, where like there's no volume on Pulse Chain, and there's no volume or liquidity with Hex at the time. There was a big argument, and he talks about these things and he factors in some really important things when it comes to volume. And Alex is concerned about that. Like you don't make money off that. And it's interesting to me to revisit that and align myself back up to the person and the ideas that he introduced to me that did make me the most money. Because yes, I have sold so many cryptos before they take 20, 30, 40, 50x leaps. The week before, the day before, the month before, I've done it. Where I've made the most money, X, is where I can lock value and take advantage of monetizing the value of time. Longer pays better, bigger pays better, right? And it allowed me to be locked into this asset called Hex to actually gain the true value over time from delayed gratification. I've sold stuff way too early, too many times. So it saves you from yourself. It saves you from your emotions. It saves you the hardships and lessons that you learn from just getting rid of your bags premature. Which leads me into today's topic. We're going to be talking about Solidx. And what's the relationship between Solidx token and Richard Hart? Is Richard has for many years positioned himself, and it can be proven on chain on a very large scale, is what they would call a benevolent whale, right? You can speculate whether or not he is the true holder of the OA addresses, whether it's hex, whether it's pulsex. We know, based off of what we've seen those addresses do, that whoever is behind the scenes and in control of those addresses is a massive benevolent whale, and throughout many years has not made moves that are going to harm the entire, not only token, but now the entire blockchain when it comes to Pulse Chain Network, right? So Solidx, he is a massive whale on Pulse Chain. And he came out with Solidx token. I was getting in between, $2, $5, $10. It ran up all the way to 200. And this was in the middle of 2024, right? You caught it or you didn't. And a lot of people made some good money. And I was one of them. I was very happy. We've seen what a benevolent whale like Richard has done, where people would argue and say that he pumped his tokens and he programmed it this way and he can come in with the money, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it. When a benevolent whale is in charge of an asset and wants to do things to push that asset up, it can make big moves. We saw it with Solidx. And this particular founder, we'll take a look. We harpooned the wallet on DBank. You can see he's got the photo up there as well. Has a very large bag in the Pulse Chain ecosystem. Came out with Solidx. Owns majority of the supply. If you go into the Blockchain Explorer, you'll see he owns 92.72% of the supply. Now, a lot of people would be like, that's a scary thing, right? That's a scary thing. However, I know, and I've learned, and you can learn too, from his position with that amount of tokens and what he has done from the beginning of this token launch until now, is obviously not sell the tokens and holding the value, but he shares the same principles as Richard. And where does that start? Well, that starts with bonding his tokens across the board with Pulse, right? Hart's Law. And there's a lot of other tokens that were involved, like Nope token, Access, and some other Firehex. I was in those at first, but I'm just strictly Solidx. Like no disrespect to Randy, no disrespect to any of those other founders. I learned that a lot of them were obviously not in the position like he was, but a lot of them were testing out the systems on how to extract value and how the bonding works. It's like a big experiment, and they saw that pairing their tokens with Solidx that was heavily bonded between all these other tokens, where Solidx is heavily bonded with Pulse, Hart's Law was actually a true statement, right? So I really think you have to just see what's happening on chain. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, right? I follow what's on chain. So far, he's done an excellent job of being like Satoshi, right? Satoshi owned most of the supply at the beginning. So far, he's been like Richard Hart, a benevolent whale, owns majority of the supply. We wouldn't call it an OA address; it's an open public wallet, right? Hasn't dumped on the community, is actively building, has participated in the ecosystem across the board, right? It's not just is he bonding Solidx to Pulse, he's supporting the PulseX farms on a heavy scale with providing liquidity for the ink emissions, over $18.5 million, right? Big position on 9inch, close with the 9inch team and founders, supporting LP for a lot of those token pairs as well. You'll take a look here on 9inch, that's $3.3 million value with 9inch. has some liquidity he's providing with his tokens for the wrapped Bitcoin, the PDI, the PDI narrative, with gift token, and other tokens out there, just supporting the ecosystem across the board, right? And providing liquidity. So I watch you watch his behavior, you watch how he moves. He's not one of those persons that looks like he's extracting value because he needs it, which he can extract a large amount across the board, right? So I look at it and I look at the chart, and at the time, not too far back, listen, it was bottom, it was hitting the rock bottom, just like the rest of the ecosystem. $11.5, right? $11.5. Now it's at 30. It's at a 2x. The Pulse chain ecosystem is going up. It's bonded to Pulse. Its largest LP is with Pulse chain. We've seen him, pump the price. We've seen a lot of things that are benevolent. So what I think is, now that Pulse chain is turning around, if you're looking to get into, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. If you're looking to get into the altcoins of the Pulse chain ecosystem, this is one that I'm excited about, because we've seen it go on a run to $200 plus, $250. We've seen what it can do, and the majority of the supply is held by the founder's wallet, and that means there's not a whole lot of people that got the mass majority of it. They can really damage it. It's like Satoshi in the early days. He owned 50% of the Bitcoin. And as Pulse chain thrives and it continues to grow from here, it's going to be interesting to see when this goes back up above $200. I would speculate that, I would imagine in my mind, right, because we did it during the middle of 2024. Pulse chain wasn't doing very much of anything, right? It had gone up because of the sacrifice money came in, pumped the prices, and it fell off the cliff. It went down drastically. And I think when it goes on its next run, it'll do really well. So an entry at $11, an entry now, for me, I'm liking it. At $50, I'll probably stop. Right, that's like where I want to stop buying. And I'm basing everything off what I've seen. Right, like I said, I'm not including Access. I'm not including any other tokens that's part of the Solidx bonding. I forget what they called it. I'm exclusively looking at this one, right? My core tokens, Pulse, PulseX, Inc, Hex, you name it. And then I'm in the heavy narratives, and then UFO. I would love to see Solidx provide liquidity for PTGC and UFO. He did everything perfect across the board and getting in everything, but it's still not too late for those. I would love to see him go and enter UFO and PTGC and look at the alien technology that's going on there and be a big hitter. That would be awesome. I don't know if he knows about them, but to me, that's like the best thing that came to Pulse chain. He might want to be a part of it, practicing Hart's Law by pairing his token with that. But let's hop into the site here. I know there's some things going on in the background as far as making a game, right? I think one of the games that's going to be coming on actually might be an affiliation with Eric, I believe, from Dragon X, from that ecosystem. I think he might be working with the team to build that out. When that comes and when that surfaces, it beats me. I don't know when that's coming out, to be 100% honest with you. I have no clue. But there's more being developed and coming soon, right? So I feel like, for me personally, it's a good entry point, right? The website is, everyone's going to have something to say. I'm not here to grade websites and all that stuff, and it could be worse, it could be better. I'm more interested in where the token has been and where it could be from here. And for me, I think it's a no-brainer. Might not be for you. Obviously, everyone's got their own, personal picks on Pulse Chain. But and I've spoken with him before, but it wasn't one of those things where we were talking about like, oh, where's Solidx going? Is it gonna pump? Like we talked on a personal level about life. So my interaction with him is not like yours. And when I'm excited to see the prices when they're low and I buy it or I've traded it, I have confidence with him as a human being. Like we talked just a few times on the level of just personal things. It wasn't so much crypto. What I do know is he believes in Richard Hart and the entire ecosystem. But that's my experience. You may have never talked with them. You may think there's, it's a scam. There's a lot of things, controversy and a lot of drama between him and other ecosystems out there. I've seen it. But I don't address all that. I think there was a lot of fighting going on in Pulse Chain, especially when the prices were down. That seems to be the thing that happens in all these communities. I've seen charts from big influencers, like from Soda and all and him before, and I don't have anything personal against Soda. I've said it out before. Like I made a lot of money on his calls when he made some calls. I my first time making money with Soda calls, I followed everything to a T, and made a lot more. Made a lot. So he saved me money. I got respect for all these guys. The difference is everyone has their own opinion. So I draw my opinions from, that personal conversation on he's a good guy. Like I said, we didn't go into like, oh, I got some secrets behind the scenes and here's what's coming. It was none of that. He was a good person. And the good things that are happening outside of him being a good person and my conversations I've had with him is what I see on chain. So I do see a massive benevolent whale that has showed the power of what he can do. And Richard Hart has showed the power of what he can do in his ecosystem. And it being bonded to Pulse, it's going to have a heavy impact on when the ecosystem takes off. Pulse Chain hits sacrifice prices, and let's say we're 2, 3, 4, 5x from sacrifice prices. I think practically everything out there buying in below sac prices, you can make a lot of money, especially just holding Pulse. If you want to make it simple, just hold Pulse. But then again, people that want to make more Pulse, just like they want to make more ETH, will risk it for the biscuit for a meme coin or a utility token like Link. You find the blue chips of the industry that are paired with Ethereum. The same thing happens here on Pulse Chain, right? Let's take a look here in the chat. LFG, yeah, what's going on? Explain Hart's Law, please. So Hart's Law pretty much is one of those things where if you look at bonded liquidity, it has to do with liquidity being bonded to each other. So Hart's Law basically talks about anything that's bonded on Pulse Chain with Pulse, heavily bonded. Hart's Law, by definition, when Pulse Chain goes up, it's going to rise the tides of all the assets that are bonded to it. But it's not like means everything under the umbrella is going to go up. Everything that is designed that's legit, even the things that aren't legit and even scams will go up. But Hart's Law indicates when you're bonded with Pulse, right, and you have your asset, let's say Solidx, and Pulse Chain goes up, Solidx will go up too. And he has talked about this many times, and we've seen it play out where Fire Whale went and he bonded Solidx with, for example, Nope token, which was just created by Randy. It really has no like true utility. He's giving it out. They might have some utility or whatnot, but at the time when it came out, they were testing this. So while Solidx was pumping from $2 to $250, the tokens like Nope that were bonded to it went up too with the charts. Their price went up drastically. Then when the price went down, those assets went down as well. And you see that with the market that are tied in with each other. everything is tied to Bitcoin practically. When Bitcoin is going up, everything goes up too, for the most part, other than like the altcoin season usually happens drastically when Bitcoin dominance drops and Bitcoin goes just down a little and then things take off. So everything in the Ethereum ecosystem as well that's heavily bonded with ETH will have a positive impact when ETH is going up. And you normally see this action happen during bull markets, and then you see the opposite effect where everything goes down as well when the markets are going into a bear market. So we've seen Hart's Law work. We've seen it applied across the ecosystem and tested through Solidx and the Mendy bonded. And that's why if we go to his wallet, it's a whale wallet, right? We've seen this tested in these tokens here, right? You'll see he's bonded with ink, wrapped Bitcoin, DAI, GIF, all sorts of different assets. And the reason why, for example, like PTGC and UFO are bonding with like the stable tokens, the free copies, they're an X multiplier. So if the pegging happens and these assets peg, then they're going to do astronomical numbers. But by Hart's Law and being bonded to it, they're going to get some price appreciation and access to gains as PDI goes up. So Hart's Law has been tested out quite a bit across the ecosystem. It's really something that we've seen in crypto. It just really never had a name to it until Richard's like, I'm going to take that because I'm going to apply it. And when he talked about, and I'll play a video for you on my Twitter, I posted last night, we'll explain Hart's Law. So you can hear him say it himself, which is a beautiful thing when he talks about it. He talks about Hart's Law and bonding E-hex with P-hex, right? And watching, what happens and when Hart's Law is into full effect. So let me play that for you really quick. What would you consider the best play to buy and hold for small money people entering Pulse Chain to make gains? I'm not a financial advisor, but if I look at it from your lenses, as a small player and even for big players, why not just hold Pulse? You don't have to get into other assets or altcoins. It stems all the way back to anybody. If you have a small amount of money, it doesn't hurt to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? You don't have to get involved with DeFi at all or anything outside of the Bitcoin or Ethereum ecosystem. Advanced users will find this opportunity lucrative that, have bridged over to Pulse. So if I'm somebody that has small money, I'm not risking it in anything else beyond Pulse unless I have confidence in it and I understand the mechanics. But sometimes you just got to keep it basic. And that's not financial advice. That's just me, how I see it, looking through your position for a small money user, right? Let me play this clip from yesterday, though, that talks about a little bit about Hart's Law, right? So I'll pull this up. I tweeted this yesterday, and I got another video up my sleeve, Brit VR, that I will post for you, especially on Twitter today. And you'll be able to hear Hart's Law fully explained.
And then listen to this. You're going to love this. Right now, I think in liquidity on Uniswap V2 on the bid side, there's like 8.5 million USDC, $8.5 million worth of USDC. So what if you bridged over USDC from the Ethereum network to Pulse and then put that in a new pair with the Hex on Pulse, which we're just going to call Hex. So some of the documentation needs to be upgraded because it was going to be E-Hex and P-Hex, but we're just going to make it Hex and E-Hex. So ERC20s that are forked onto Pulse, or they're going to just be called their native name. So like Chainlink on Ethereum, which is Link, is going to be bridged over and called E-Link for Link from Ethereum. And then on Pulse, it's just going to be called Link. So need to update the naming conventions document a little bit. Not that big a change. So if you bridged in EUSDC from the Ethereum network and then put it in a liquidity pool with $8.5 million of USDC versus the equivalent $8.5 million of Pulse, or rather Hex on the Pulse network, then you'd in effect have nearly doubled the liquidity. So this isn't accounting for what's sitting in limit orders on 0x and 1inch.io. It's not accounting for Uniswap v3, which actually has a lot of liquidity now. I'll look it up in a minute. But you could for like $10 or $20 million double the liquidity for Hex on the Pulse network. And I think that'd be pretty cool, because now maybe instead of Hex being worth 20 cents on just Ethereum, maybe Hex could be worth 20 cents on Ethereum and Pulse. That would be awesome. And then you step in and you put a liquidity providing incentivization program where you reward people for putting in a Uniswap pair their ERC20s from the bridged in from the Ethereum network and the Pulse versions of them. And then the Pulse versions are backed by the Ethereum versions. And people are probably happier to do that because they got the Pulse side for free. So you got a big bag of link, bridge it over, take your free link on the Pulse network, put the two in a Uniswap pair. And as long as their ratio stays similar, you're just making trading fees. You're not even getting impermanent loss. So if whatever ratio you
So when it comes to Hart's Law, Brit VR, that's a start there that I wanted you just to take a clip of where he started coming up with the ideas of bridging over and providing liquidity. Now, Hart's Law, like I said, I had this video already planned out to put on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter. I'll put it out where he explains Hart's Law in detail about, the tides rising together when they're bonded as far as LP. He is even talking about a parity, right? And then from there, Hart's Law will take into effect. So when he talks about eHex and Pulse Chain Hex being 20 cents, that means that the prices would have to reach parity and be the same exact price, bonded together in LP, and will rise together. And those assets, since they're bonded with Pulse, if Pulse does 100x, since they're bonded with Pulse and everything else is in the ecosystem, the entire ecosystem will thrive together and all tides will rise. That doesn't mean that you're going to get into a scam and someone's going to rug pull it and it'll continue to go up. Those will die off just like they normally do. But it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see that if we have an eHex and Hex parity happen, what could be the outcome? Because I never thought that the ecosystem would succeed unless they reached parity. I thought it was crucial, especially since a lot of OG hexagons and people looking at the chart from the OG hex, how it looks, and it doesn't look good. How confidence would, regain from there, how you would restore confidence unless that recovered and actually reached a parity with Hex on Pulse Chain. Because would it make sense to have a 1 penny eHex and then pHex is $1? Like there'd be a lot of confusion. So I think parity could be something in the near future. I really do. We'll see. Everything is up for grabs and could happen. But back to Solidx, guys. I want to take a look, like we were looking at the Firewhales wallet, right? I like the token supply as well. 21 million tokens, right? Like Bitcoin, where he owns 19,470,771. That's the Firewhale, owns that. Let me a second. Street Sweeper. So anyways, I do believe, since now the ecosystem is on the verge of possibly taking off, that solid projects that are heavily bonded will do really well. And this has already been $200 plus before. And you can't single it out and be like, oh, it was $250 and now it went down to 11. massive correction. The entire ecosystem did. But it's clear there's a benevolent whale. There's a big player involved who has the funds and the ability to do it again. Already showed us a simulation of price action based off, simple moves, RH moves. And I think this one will be probably one of them in my portfolio that I'll look back and be like, all right, you enjoyed the ride from $2, $5 to 200 plus, and you got the double dip. You got the double dip. And when you double dipped, you got back in at 11, and it went to 200 again, and then it went to 500, maybe 1,000 peak bull. So that's how I'm looking at it when Hart's Law is into effect, right? And like I said, I've seen, charts from like Soda, for example, when he was charting it and showing the downfall. I was like, time to get out, And then I waited around because I didn't draw FUD from that. I was just like, hey, this guy keeps winning on his charts. Love him or like him, love him or hate him. I was able to sit out and then wait to get back in because those charts, and when someone's accurate on charts, it's not FUD, it's technical analysis, right? And it played out. Cool. Well, personally, I like the project. I like the stock. Like what's his name said, Roaring Kitty. I like the stock. So I got to buy back in cheap. So I'm waiting to see what happens here. And I do like the fact that Hart's Law was applied and tested in real time in front of me. Now we see it happening across the board on many different tokens. So many tokens on Pulse Chain, and we're seeing it play out through the Atropa ecosystem, through the PTGC ecosystem. And which, by the way, Enki, we're going to do an interview with them tomorrow. So I'll have the link to that. I'll lay it out on YouTube tomorrow so you guys could, hop in, join us. I think it's going to be like at 11 a.m. PST, and we'll talk about it. See, all these rich people want to help out the poor people, which is why they always create Ponzi's. Sorry projects. That's one way to look at it. I respect your opinion. Could be true on many different levels. Could be true across the board. But I'm in crypto to speculate on where I can make money. So what I've seen so far is many opportunities early, which this is one of them. And the entire market and ecosystem just went super bearish and the price went down. So I found that opportunity all over again. And when they do build, right, from this point, and they make the games, they're supposed to be like, I don't know if it's a casino or what they're doing, but there's supposed to be more coming that's going to possibly burn the token, right? There's more coming down the road. And I would just take into account, like follow them on Twitter, go into their Telegram, be up to date with what's happening. I think the last one was on the 23rd. Pulse Chain Community, whether you hold our token or not, Solidx has been a force and good for the chain. Since this launch, no other token aside from Richard Hart tickers has achieved this level of volume. None. And this is one of its many liquidity pools. And it has a lot of LP pools, right? A lot. Quite a bit. And I see opportunity. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm documenting my thoughts and my ideas of where I'm going to find value on Pulse Chain, where I'm an advanced user. Again, if you're not somebody that wants to draw out from Pulse, you got smaller bags. I don't feel like there would be a reason to not just hold Pulse Chain and PulseX and Hex and Ink. But if you got enough of those bags and you can risk it for the biscuit, and your risk tolerance is outside of willing to invest more than you can lose, you can invest. Well, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. I invest more than I'm willing to lose. I take the risk. I really do. I'm a risk taker, but I've been playing with house money for years now in crypto. That's what I want people to understand. I've been playing with house money for years and living off crypto for a long time. So when I juggle different altcoins, I understand the risk, and my tolerance is different because if it goes to zero, I can walk to the next machine in the casino. Some of you have to walk out with your head down and go home and tell your wife you lost everything. And that's not smart. So everything's got a risk, but I like the project. I love the founder's benevolent status across the ecosystem, right? I can see all of that on chain. He's supporting like every big narrative. He's supporting Pulse Farms. He's supporting all these different assets, free copies galore, right? And who has this type of money in Pulse Farms like this, and it's consistently held these pairs and wasn't selling the bottoms? Can you ask yourself who? Was it you? Probably don't know very many people, and you're probably not one of them if you're on the stream, right? So I think the sky's the limit, and I look at all the on-chain evidence. These pairs have been sitting here for months. I didn't care that GIF went down from all-time highs of like 15 cents back down to where it's at now. Held the farm position, the liquidity pool. Didn't care when PDI went up and back down. And look at now, these assets with these 1.2 million LP'd with PDI, 1.5 million LP'd with wrapped Bitcoin, 2.9 million LP with ink. All right. It's a benevolent whale. He's got a token, and he's acting like a Richard Hart. He ain't Richard Hart though, but he is practicing his best practices, and I think he understands what he can do in the near future and what he might do to get us to the next level. And I think there's obviously utility. I speculate that here is being built out. I haven't been in the Telegram group in a long time, to be honest with you. That I'm not aware of. And it's been a minute since I spoke with him direct. And like I said, last time I didn't ask those questions. I didn't ask like, what's up your sleeve? One thing I got is he believes in RH, and he's a massive wallet on the Pulse Chain network. Okay. Any question? Yeah, I'm holding PDI Bear and Pulse X. I like those. Let's look at the good old teddy bear today. Good old teddy bear. It's got different LP pools, by the way, guys. So you'll see, like some got really low, some got a lot, some got a little, but they're different. Let's see what's pumping today. Well, Solidx is one of them. It's up today. Aave we talked about yesterday, and I mentioned that too. If we go and look at the Aave holders, I mentioned this the other day. When you harpoon a whale, go look at what they hold. When you harpoon a whale, go look at what they hold, man. Go look. And if you saw the whale, the wallet I just pointed out, he's got 104,000 Aave, the P copy. And it's 36 cents on this chain, right? I don't make this stuff up. It's what I can see. And I was there when I bought it early, and then I saw it spike, and I told you guys the story. I was like, I saw his wallet just buy this token and pump my bags. I'm going to keep holding it. Maybe he knows something, because he bought it out of the blue, like out of nowhere, just started just mooning the price from when I first got in. So normally most people would sell and be like, somebody just, put me up 2-3x. But when I realized it was him, see, when he buys stuff, he holds it, he provides liquidity, or he holds it. I'm like, I'm getting rid of this. I don't have the connections he does. Maybe he knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So that's where I drew my confidence from Aave, because other than that, it's just a free copy. You can speculate. People are going to come over from ETH and provide liquidity, or people are going to buy the token. Well, I saw one of the biggest wallets on the chain purchase this token. That's good enough for me. That's all. That's as far as it goes. I have some whales I've harpooned. I mimic a lot of their steps, and I've made money just doing that. Made a career out of it on every chain I've ever been on. Oh, this guy's buying this. Let me get it. And that's how I got early in, and like, what was it? SNX, a lot of stuff, man. So this is nothing new. Maybe it's not even the first time I've talked about it public. You know, follow the money. Follow the money. Not a lot of liquidity, so that means if some kind of like event happens where people are going to buy Aave, right? There's the LP so low it'll skyrocket, and the true value of it on its original chain. If you go to coinmarketcap.com, it's $174, right? So even if you get 10% of that value, and let's call it $17.41, it hits on Pulse Chain. Does that seem crazy from a bull market standpoint? No. Can you own a lot of it when it has low liquidity at 36 cents? Yeah. That, to me, I smell opportunity. I can't help it. I got to pick some up, man. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm telling you how I'm looking at, bro. You can buy it, it can go to zero. It's a free copy. But thus far, the evidence on chain with the free copies shows that there's a lot of speculation and a lot of hype going around them. So when you follow the money, if you follow the dumb money, and the dumb money is making the most money on Solana and on meme tokens, they're going after the biggest narratives. And the biggest narrative that could draw out on Pulse Chain, let's say just PDI hits $1 or it hits 10 cents. Right now, it's rocking the space with 1 penny. PDI comes in, hits 5 cents, 10 cents, and then there's a bridge between Solana to Pulse. A lot of those people are going to ape over and go on a free copy frenzy and refer to them as memes because they are free copies. They're fake copies, right? Until it's real, until one of them reaches parity, it's just a meme coin narrative. And I know you PDI people are like, it's not a narrative, it's real. Until it pegs, not saying that it won't, not saying that it will. It's a meme coin narrative for everybody on the outside. Highly speculative, high risk, high reward. Big payoff could happen if it takes place. Because if people coming from Solana said, oh, I got in at 50 cents, it hit $1. And there's all these other copies. Aave's 36 cents. That means it's this amount away from hitting $174. And if it reaches parity, then we got a bunch of users coming in and buying these tokens. And you never know what we can see. We can see a big change in the space happen because of these massive green candles that are soon to come. They're soon to come. But where I want to be, where I think the smart money goes, and where I think the people that are looking for future utility and want to be in a crypto with a benevolent whale that's a big factor in the space, a good player. Solidx is my top pick as far as I've already told you guys. I've Richard Hart core tokens. I got the PTGC UFO, and then I got my narrative free copies, right? And the one where I feel like a project, like something that's trying to be a utility, something that's trying to make a difference, a founder that's, a real down-to-earth person. There's a lot of those people that are on Pulse Chain that are trying to build. I'm putting my money on this guy, and we'll see what happens. So don't forget, about an hour in, to pound the like button, right? Drop a comment. Until next time, we shall do it again. Yeah, dog.
Lady LaFontaine, just get it. Woo! Yeah. It's R2R. Scratch the riches. Scratch the riches. It's R2R. Scratch the riches. Scratch the riches. It's R2R. Scratch the riches. Scratch the riches. It's R2R. It's R2R. Back to riches. It's back to riches. Got my call from the R2R. Farmers going up, Brody, check the chart. In the loots, buying all these plots. Thomas G and Mike got the chat on lock. Wanna drip and pause. Got these dogs and pigeons, farm me, I'm ready to score. Got me a bag of the rich and hard, I think I need more. Group got me in the wave, now I'm swimming the shore. I'm up to the core. It's R2R, it's R2R. Back to riches, back to riches. It's R2R, it's R2R. Back to riches, it's back to riches. It's R2R, it's R2R. Back to riches, back to riches. It's R2R, it's R2R. Back to riches, it's back to riches.